Can you hear me okay?
Morning.
Yep, Mr. Brown, can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am. How you doing today?
Okay, good. This is Judge Sara Smolenski from the 63rd District Court talking to you from Zoom. I've got 3 different files to talk to you about. We'll start with what's called an arraignment. An arraignment is the first time that you come before the court, Mr. Brown, to hear what the charge or charges are, to hear what your rights are, to hear what the penalty is possible. This goes back to July 21, this summer. Now it's almost 3 months ago. They're charging you with carrying a concealed weapon, carrying a dangerous weapon, a double-edged knife, whether concealed or otherwise, in a vehicle operated or occupied by the defendant. They're talking about a PT Cruiser in the area by South Division and Kenbrook, part of Gaines Township. It's a felony, Mr. Brown. It carries with it the possible penalty, 5 years in prison or a $2,500 fine. And if you're convicted of the case, it's a mandatory forfeiture of the knife. In addition, on that same date, same location, they're charging you with driving suspended, second offense. It's a misdemeanor. Up to 1 year in jail and or $1,000 fine, 2 points on your license, and it can require that the Secretary of State step in and suspend, restrict, or revoke your license. They're alleging you were operating a motor vehicle in that area of South Division and Kenbrook on July 21 this summer, a place that they consider open to the general public, while at the time your driver's license, operator's license was suspended or revoked. They're saying you had a prior conviction out of 61st District Court in Grand Rapids, July of 2012, 8 years ago. That's why they bump it up to a second offense. Now you have the right to remain silent about the details of that July 21 incident. Anything you say, anything you write down can be used against you in court, so always be knowing who you're talking to, what you're saying, what you're writing down. You have to have a lawyer. They won't let you go forward without legal representation. You must have a lawyer. If you cannot afford to hire your own lawyer, the court would appoint a lawyer to represent you. You've got 2 appointments set up on that felony case, October 28 and November 4. They're both Wednesdays. October 28 is 2 weeks from yesterday. It's the probable cause conference where you'd have to be here or on Zoom with your attorney to talk about the case. The PCC, we call the probable cause conference, is the first appointment on October 28. And you and your attorney would get a chance to talk about the case in more detail, and you'd also talk with the prosecutor. Then you and your attorney would make a decision whether you need to have the preliminary exam, which right now they've scheduled for that following Wednesday, November 4. Both your appointments are at 8:45 in the morning, and you'll definitely want a chance to talk to your attorney beforehand. The preliminary exam is on November 4, and it's where the judge gets more involved. And I've got all your cases where the prosecutor has to present evidence to show that a crime or crimes have been committed. 2, that there exists probable cause to believe you committed the offenses. So they're just physically talking about the carrying a concealed weapon charge, and then the misdemeanor driving suspended second kind of goes along with it. Now we're getting a little bit of feedback, so I don't know if you can hear me well.
I can hear you, Smolenski. Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, so today we just say not guilty on both charges. And then you got to remember those dates of October 28 and November 4. Did you go to jail at all on that case?
No, ma'am.
Never went to jail on it. We'll make it a $10,000 PR bond. No posting of any money. You don't go to jail. Eventually, when you come to the court, they may have to fingerprint you if they haven't already. We'll just enter a plea of not guilty on both charges. Okay, another case I need to talk to you about, the oldest one, is a 2017 case where you got charged with a home invasion of some property on North Kenbrook Street in Gaines Township, where you still owe money on that case. Does it ring a bell?
Yes, ma'am.
You've had a few bench warrants on this because you've never paid it in full. We haven't had any payments, I think, since the summer might have been the last one. Does that ring a bell?
Yes, ma'am. I actually have my car up for sale right now to get that situated. I'll talk to my probation officer about that situation, ma'am.
And who's your probation officer?
Nicole Brown.
Tell me again?
Nicole Brown.
Yep, Nicole Brown.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'd like you to try to get this finished by the end of the year. I'm just going to put end of the year.
Okay.
Must pay in full.
I will. I have it done. I got my PT Cruise actually for sale right now, so I won't drive it no more. I'm trying not to break any more laws or anything, so I'm just trying to get rid of this, pay the fines off, and so
Well,
that way,
if
you know,
it
I can
works, I mean, if it works selling the car, but I'm just saying, have some other plans, because if it doesn't work, this still has to be paid by the end of the year.
I know.
The last case I have to talk to you about is when you got arrested this spring for operating while intoxicated, malicious destruction of property with that guy's car window. We had that case, you've come to court, you've been arraigned. We said not guilty. They've set it up for a couple of pretrial conferences, and you've missed it. You've missed coming in. I don't know if you forgot about this case, Mr. Brown, or our address is messed up. Where do you use as an address right now?
360 North Kenbrook Street, Kentwood, Michigan, 4958, off of 60th and Division by Crossroads School.
So it is the 360 North Kenbrook?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Why have you forgotten to show up or deal with that case when you got arrested for the DUI?
Well, when I got released from the jail, they had switched the court date from the original paperwork or whatever. And then the paper that came from the courts was separate or whatever. And then I didn't see it until just like last week.
Could you call us?
Well, yeah, I talked to my PO about it. I actually emailed her. Me and her have been kind of having complications about emails, whatever.
Okay.
But if I got situated, and she said she's going to talk to you about rescheduling another meeting about today.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reschedule the pretrial. You can zoom in on that.
Okay.
But you can't miss it. They'll send notice to the North Kenbrook address. I'm just making it. Go ahead.
We're gonna have a lot of complications with my mailing address.
Well, then talk to Nicole Brown and have her look it up, tell you exactly what date you're supposed to be talking to the prosecutor.
Okay.
Because if you don't get your mail, you should call your PO. They'll reschedule the pretrial. We'll just make it a PR bond right now. So I'm not going to have you post any more money, but you've got to deal with this case. Okay?
I got too many cases. I know.
I know it. It's a lot. Do you have an attorney on this one?
Was it David or something like that? Or John Grace? John Grace.
Yeah, John Grace stood in, I think, as an indigent defense. I'm going to appoint you an attorney.
Okay.
But get talking to them to resolve this case, okay?
Okay, I have his paperwork still from the last time when I was talking to him.
All right. Well, you know how to contact your probation officer, Nicole Brown. So just let us know. You're going to find out who your attorney is on this misdemeanor. On the felony case, you gotta have an attorney. You know, so just, you got a lot of fish in your frying pan. You gotta deal with all of them.
So let's keep that.
Yes?
And so whatever. I actually got back from Baldwin. I went up there to see my stepmom, whatever, because her husband recently passed away, whatever. But she wanted us to like camp, whatever. So all I did is went to Walmart and I bought like pretty much camping gear. That's all it was, you know, because she said that there's like bears and stuff up there. So all it was is just pretty much, you know, for like chopping limbs or whatever. You know, it wasn't meant to harm anyone or anything like that. Actually, at the time, I had
What
bow
you're
and
gonna
arrow.
wanna do, hold on, Mr. Brown. If you're talking about camping and bears and everything else, talk to your attorney. I don't get into details. They're not saying the knife was meant to harm anyone. They're just saying you're not allowed to have that kind of a weapon in your car. Talk to your attorney. You tell them about your camping, you tell them about the bears. We'll deal with it step by step, but don't spill your guts with me right now, because that's not needed.
I didn't
Okay.
know it was illegal. I didn't know it was illegal to have a car.
Okay, tell your attorney that. Just make sure your attorney knows that. You know the 2 dates, October 28th and November 4. Okay, yep. All right, thanks for zooming in today. You can disconnect.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
All right, thank you.